Still in control. This is the second video about controls in this series. In Jeet Kune Do, controls or traps are ways we immobilize our opponent to limit their offense. This video we're going to be talking about controls that we do on the body. That would include the head and the legs. So let's take a look at 4 controls that we do on the person's body or core, and I'll demonstrate those controls with one of my students, and then we'll show you the application on the wooden dummy. Okay, positions 9, 10, 11, and 12. That's what we call the core, and that's done here. This is 9, that's the shoulder. The other shoulder is 10, and then the hips will be 11 and 12. I usually do these controls when I'm in a clinch, and what I'm trying to do here is prevent him from offsetting my balance, so I'm pushing onto his hip, or sometimes I might pull it and I'm pushing on the shoulder. I might attack him, he might attack me, and I'll stop that, and when an opportunity comes, I'm going to wrench, kidney slap, punch, groin slap, and ear slap. Using the wooden dummy to practice those control positions is not too difficult. We're going to represent the shoulders of our opponent on the wooden dummy, just right above the arms, right even with the top arm. So this would be on this side, and that's position 9, and this side would be position 10. And then the hips will represent right below the middle arm, and again on either side, so that would be 11 and this would be 12. Now most of the time when you're controlling the person's core like that, you are in a clinch or you're very close. What you saw with my students is I was in a clinch, and I wanted to make sure I wasn't put off balance while I was in that clinch. So I pushed on the shoulder from above the arms, and then I went onto the hip, the same side. Now from here I can pull the person's hip in, or I can push and offset his balance that way, all the time keeping pressure on the shoulder. I can strike when I have an opportunity, and then when I have a nice opening, I'm going to try and get out of this clinch by coming up, wrenching the arm, and then I'll slap it off at the same time I slap the kidney, and I'll strike, and I'll keep going on with the groin slap, an ear slap, and a punch. Okay, I'll demonstrate that again. Let's look at a few controls that we do above the core or the person's head area, including the neck. And again, I'll show you how to do those on a student or a partner, and then we'll do it again on the wooden dummy. Okay, we just talked about the 4 corners, as I call them. Now we're going to talk about controlling the person's neck. And what we do is basically I'm putting him into a clinch right here, and I got a nice tight clinch around his neck, and I'm going to use this to just swing into some knees, just like this. Just swing him around, offset his balance, okay? Or I might take one hand off, get him to drop his hand, and then throw an elbow. See, I still have this clinch here. I might even come around to the other side and clinch on this side, single-handed clinch on this side, and then throw an elbow right over to here. Control positions 13 and 14 are the control positions that go around our opponent's neck from each side, and it's basically a clinch. And I demonstrated in a previous video that you can do a clinch right in front of the wooden dummy just using the 2 arms. I prefer that. It's just a very comfortable clinching position. Or if you're a little taller, I'm not that tall, so you can just come right above and do the clinch right around here, or you can even put it under and do the clinch here. This is the control position representation on the wooden dummy of a clinch, positions 13 and 14. And from that position, as you saw in the video, I just executed some knees and swung the wooden dummy around and just got comfortable securing that position and have my balance stable as I do it. Okay, I can also clinch with one hand. I can go around, all the way around to the back, and I can use that to pull the person into elbows or punches. okay? Or I can even switch it to a cross clinch around, across one arm across the person, and I can pull him in to a knee and an elbow right from that same side. It can even add an ear slant. Okay, so once again, clinches, there's absolutely no reason why you can't clinch or represent a clinch right in front of the wooden dummy. Okay, it's a very secure, solid feeling clinch, and this is the best way of gripping your hands. Try and avoid doing that. There's a couple of discussions on this, why this is bad, and I won't get into that, but this is a secure position. Any way you can get your elbows in tighter and secure that clinch would be beneficial. So again, this will be a representation of that, or this, or this. Let's move on to the control positions we do to the person's head area or face. One would be right here on his forehead, okay, that's number 15, and one would be up here on his chin, and that would be 16, okay. And what I do with these positions is I try and take the opponent down by offsetting his balance by torquing his head. Control positions 15 and 16, we're talking about the person's head, the top of the head and under the chin. So we're going to represent the chin either by just going right in between the arms, upper arms of the wooden dummy and push onto the body, or we can actually go right underneath it and just use the arms to represent the chin if I want to lift up the person's chin like you saw me do with one of my students. Okay, so here I have the control position under the chin, and this one's on top of the head, and this was the takedown I demonstrated. I just went from behind, and now I got the head from here, and now I'm just going to push and pull, and that's how I get that position and get that person to the ground. Okay, so it's not difficult, it's just trying to represent it as best you can. Okay, so there's a control position, there's a control position. If you prefer to go over, that's all okay. It's just a matter of getting all the attributes in place when you want to execute the technique. Okay, so that would be one application of using the head as a control position for a takedown. There are also control positions that we do to the lower half of our opponent, and some of those controls are difficult to do or practice on the wooden dummy, so I won't include those controls. These controls are done to the person's legs, and let's look at the ones we can do. And again, once again, I'll show you how to do those with one of my students before showing you how to do it on the wooden dummy. Okay, there's not too many positions I can show on the wooden dummy on the lower half, but one of them that I do want to show is involving the person's knee, okay, or calf. One position would be behind and one position would be in front, and I would use this to take the person down, sort of like this. So again, there's not too many leg control positions that you can practice on the wooden dummy. It's just not the best training aid. But the one that I do show my students is the one you saw me demonstrate, where you want to try and pin the person's knee by going above it and behind it. And now you're able to limit and offset his balance by pulling or pushing on his leg. And as you saw me do with one of my students, the was actually able to take him down from this position. So between this video and our last video, there's quite a few controls now you can practice on the wooden dummy. The next video, we're going to be spending some time talking about what if we're under control, what if our opponent has us immobilized, how would we get out of those control positions, and that video is called Out of Control, and hopefully we'll get that out to you sometime this month. So keep your eyes open for that one, and thanks for watching.